Welcome back, Patriots. It is officially Tuesday, August 13th, and man, it's great to be back with you. Let me tell you, yesterday, we were hanging out for hours. If you put it into totality, we spent yesterday, one day, Patriots, 4 to 5 hours together. We did a morning show. Your boy went to work. Your boy came back from work and streamed for another 3.5 hours yesterday. Guys, I had a freaking blast hanging out with all of you. That interview was bonkers. If you missed it, Elon Musk and Donald Trump did an interview yesterday on X, and it broke the internet. Literally, we were trying to get in, if y'all remember. We were all spazzing out like, we're not going to be able to watch it. I can't listen to him. I need to. But we were able to get in. Folks, if you didn't see, it garnered a freaking billion views. Yes, no. I think you misunderstood me or misheard me because it's morning. You haven't had your 1775 coffee yet. A billion views. There's nothing like that, folks. Just to put that in perspective, not in less than 24 hours. That was within like 3-hour time frame, a billion views. Nobody's ever done that before. So they broke the internet. If you take in totality of everybody that's viewed it, man, those guys rocked it yesterday. And Hodge twins have it correct down here. Rip the mainstream media. A little bit of Trump and Elon dancing right there. I'll tell you what, man, that was fire. I would have liked to see more of a conversation, because that's what it was supposed to be about. I think Donald Trump talked a lot. I would have loved to hear Elon, because I don't know if you caught it. Elon Musk was trying to do what the media does with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. We're kind of setting him up. Hey, like, you're not for illegal immigration, but Donald, you're for legal immigration, correct? You know, trying to sit there and help and kind of clear up, because Elon understands Trump's messaging sometimes is not as clear cut as to us as it is to others. So overall, I thought it was a great interview. Man, there's no bigger platform that you could have gotten on. Donald Trump killing it the last 2 weeks, right? With Aiden Ross getting 500,000 views just during the live stream, and then millions and millions of views after on top of this. So, I mean, just a phenomenal job, whoever set that one up. And kudos to Elon Musk for endorsing and supporting Donald Trump. And mind you, if you heard all that last night, none of it was radical. None of it was extreme. Elon's like, yeah, I just want, a better life for my children and myself. I just don't want things to be expensive. I don't want inflation. I don't want a bunch of people here that shouldn't be. None of it was crazy. That's the mind-blowing thing. And Elon's like, yeah, I'm like a moderate Democrat. How many times have conservatives and Republicans said, hey, the left and the Democrat Party have moved so far over that if now you're a moderate Democrat, and I've called, you guys are here when I say, hey, you listen to Democrats nowadays, they're not like a Clinton, like old school Bill Clinton, or like a JFK Democrat. No, they're far left. If you were to listen to Bill Clinton's speeches, if you were to listen to JFK, they would sound like almost like a Republican, like a moderate Democrat nowadays. And case in point, Elon Musk. So it's not the Republican Party that shifted far left or far right. If anything, the Republican Party has shifted more moderate, and the Democrats are the ones that have gone with the progressive. Case in point, you got a Marxist running for freaking president of the United States. Not my thinking. I just listened to that psycho lady talk. And psycho lady, I mean Kamala Harris. Patriots, it's good seeing all of you. I see you, Liberty. I see you, Pat, Dizzy, Jason, Miriam. Who else we got in here? Secret agents always supporting us. Always appreciated. Lulu, Sharon, Mike's in here. Kathleen, I think, had us hooked up at a bar yesterday. I've never played in a bar before, but that was dope. Nicholas, the architect, was in here last night. Robert, good to see you, Robert. Good morning, non-communist. Amanda, good to see you. Chino, California, it's hot today, and it was hot yesterday. It was humid. All right, well, let's jump into the news. We already kicked it off slightly with a combined billion views yesterday. I want to get into a little bit of what we covered yesterday as well, or should I say that we did not cover, and then we'll get into a little bit of the White House press briefing. I got some small clips for you folks of the psycho Jean-Pierre just, woof. So if you're just still curious what Joe's doing, you guys, no, he's still there. He never left. Joe Biden still running the country. Whew. That's our president, guys. Oh. Have you noticed Democrats have still not apologized for voting for Joe Biden? Has anybody noticed that? Like, we still haven't got an apology from our liberal and Democrat friends for voting for this guy. Like, there's no. I was thinking about this this morning, taking a shower. I'm like, I haven't seen any sort of reflection or any sort of, like, I don't know, looking into the mirror of going, man, I really fucked up that one for voting for that guy. Man, I really screwed up here. I mean, look at what's going on around the world. The crime's increasing in the United States, massive illegal immigration, homeless crisis going through the roof, record inflation. I'm struggling to buy groceries. I can't afford gas. My energy bill's going through the roof. My mortgage rates have gone up. I can't buy a home. I can't afford college. I can't afford diapers for my kid. I couldn't even find baby formula at one point while the illegal immigrants at the border are getting it. It's astonishing. Patriots, I'm looking at the chat. It is, right? That there's no critical thinking and no reflection of, like, I did this. I voted for that guy. And you know what? I'm going to do it again. It's just like, what? What? This, please, Democrats, this here, just use it, okay? Just use it. Because Kamala's worse than Joey. Now, I want to play a little bit more of this clip from CNN yesterday, because these women and what they say is just wild. We're going to pick it apart. Let's roll it.
A breaking story at this point with new information coming as the minutes and hours go by. I want to talk, Essie, a little bit about this campaign and the strategies on both sides in particular. We saw the former president holding that news conference this week and then this rally last night. He's really been going after Harris, questioning her blackness.
We got to pause it. Thank you, Dizzy and Def, for the $5, man. You're always keeping the lights on here. I always appreciate you contributing. This man gives his hard-earned money to keeping the show going. Thank you, man. Good morning, Patriots. Love that, Dizzy. Thank you. Over at Rumble.
Questioning her intelligence. I want to play a clip and then ask you a question on the other side.
Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ. But we'll find out about her IQ during the debate. Okay, let's find out about her IQ.
So, Essie, both of these campaigns want to grow their coalition. That is how you win a race. More voters vote for you than the other person. So I'm curious why.
That's actually not how it works. It works on electoral college. It doesn't work on the popular vote. So you can actually have somebody win the popular vote but not win the office of the presidency. Huh.
The former president thinks that attacking Kamala Harris in this very personal way is going to bring in new voters. Do you think that's a good strategy?
Yeah. No. And listen, I host another show on another network called Battleground, and the point of it is to talk to swing state voters. I talk to them every day, and they don't care to litigate Kamala Harris's race. They don't care about childless cat ladies. They have problems and they want solutions. And if you're Trump and JD Vance going into these swing states, the states that will determine this election, talking about Kamala Harris's IQ or, punishing people who don't have children, these are not solving problems that they have. And in fact, a lot of swing state voters, especially women, are turned off by these very personal attacks.
Don't you guys find it rich that they're attacking JD Vance for whatever he said in the past about, basically punishing single mothers or even single fathers or whatever, without, again, zero reflection of the fact of record inflation. Prices across the board are up minimum 20.1%. Don't you think that hurts single mothers and single fathers? JD Vance didn't do anything. He said he made a comment that was misconstrued. You guys actually, not you guys, the Democrats on the screen voted for Joe Biden, and you're going to sit there and hound Donald Trump without actually having, again, the thinking caps on. That probably hurt, I don't know, single mothers and single fathers. And by the way, the candidate that CNN wants to put in office, Kamala Harris, is going to get rid of Trump's tax cuts and increase your tax rates. So now you're giving the double middle finger to single mothers and single fathers. But, blame it on Republicans, right, folks?
So there's a reason why voters in swing states, many of them are uncommitted, undecided. They are waiting for solutions to problems that they have. Trump is not offering that yet. Harris and J.D. Vance, for their part, have not yet laid out their agenda either. So, everyone's kind of waiting for the substance of this election to kick in. Trump seems very sort of scattered with Harris now on the Democratic ticket. And Harris.
Scattered how? What? How is he scattered? The dude just did a 2-hour interview and just clocked her upside her damn head. There's no scattered there. The dude was recalling stuff from like 13 years ago. The guy's sharp. He's not scattered at all. What the hell are you talking about, lady?
Harris fans are obviously just getting in and just getting started, but they also need to tell voters, we're not just a campaign of vibes, right? We're gonna solve some problems. Here's how.
And Lulu, Harris in Arizona, in Nevada yesterday and then today, they are obviously hoping to put these states that maybe were going to be out of reach for Democrats back into play there in the Sun Belt, where the voting blocks can be more diverse. Of course, Latino voters in both of those states play a very key role. Latino voters are not monolith. Of course, they care about independent things and different things. But how impactful do you think yesterday's endorsement from the League of United Latin American Citizens might be to this race in those particular states?
I think it was important. I think the Culinary Union, which actually always leans Democratic, is important. But what happens there is that they end up going door to door. They have very robust get out the vote campaigns. Latinos respond to that. They like to see people face to face. It is a difficult demographic to reach often, but a very important one, vital to this election, especially in those states. And so it is increasingly important. And you're seeing
all right, I think we heard enough from these ladies. They're just gonna sit there. Some of you are right in the chat. Yeah, they're lying. Oh, they're willfully stupid. Yeah, I feel you. You don't gotta tell me. Again, it boggles the mind that 4 years ago, people lined up, and I put that in air quotes because there's COVID and all this mail-in balloting and stuff that took place. They lined up for Joe Biden, right? Even though he couldn't fill a parking lot. He wins the election. Allegedly, he was the most popular president in American history. And you had everything take place that we've listed out. Okay, we don't need to keep rehashing every single thing that Joe Biden did to destroy this country. And Democrats are going, yes, Kamala. Almost further left. I guess for you guys, it'd be this way. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. So she comes out and she goes, yeah, I'm radical. It's funny because we're like, yeah, she's the most radical left senator that's ever existed, like left of Bernie Sanders, like Trump said yesterday. And Democrats like, you can't say that, you bigot, you racist, you can't say that. She said it. It's her words. The hell are you talking about? So she goes, there's an ad with text. Here's what Kamala Harris would do as president. As audio plays of Harris bragging about being radical. The ad closed with the text, Kamala Harris failed, weak, dangerously liberal. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
Whoa, hey. Hold on a second, guys. Whoa. Just, I want to make sure we heard it from the horse's mouth together. It kind of started a little quickly, they didn't ease us into it. She's like, yeah, I'm radical. It's her words, Democrats, not ours. Her words.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical. Yeah, I am radical. Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously.
As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that. But would you support changing the dietary guidelines? Yes.
The food pyramid. What people
Yes.
to reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you...
Just a question, Patriots. How many of you get free health care? Anybody, really? I mean, we got well over 100 people in here. Anybody in here get... I'm not talking about government. No, I'm talking about free health care. You walk into the doctor's office, your insurance doesn't pay a dime. You don't pay a dime. You just walk in and you get free health care. So answer me this. You, as an American citizen, don't get free health care, but if you come into this country illegally, you get free health care, which causes your what to go up? Well, because people are receiving services that aren't paying into the system, your premiums go up. Yeah, there we go. And Democrats, but J.D. Vance is going after single women and cat moms. Democrats, wake up. Maybe there's one or two in here. I don't know. It's mostly just patriots.
Stand on defund the police.
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
Hey, just, again.
Yeah, I am radical.
Heard it from the horse's mouth, folks. You heard it from the horse's mouth. So there's this great clip from the Republican National CMTE chairman just talking about election integrity and just how it's a top priority, because when you have a radical person running and has been in office with a dude that used to be somewhat moderate, but kowtowed to his base, these hardcore progressive lefties, well, now you got millions of people pouring across the border, and we got all this stuff taking place at our polls that are just going to happen again. And what I mean by that is people stuffing the freaking ballot box that we saw clips of from CNN accidentally catching somebody stuffing ballot boxes. So what's going to happen? Are we going to sit there and recruit people to sit there and cover this stuff, meaning actually have people monitoring?
The second component for election integrity is you got to be in the room. We announced when Laura Trump and I took over at the RNC 4 months ago that we were going to recruit over 100,000 volunteers into our national program, our Protect the Vote program. Happy to say that we've already got 157,000 volunteers who've registered for that program. We're going to continue to push for the next 87 days to make sure that we have the biggest, most robust national election integrity program in the history of the country. The second...
I'm so sorry. I'm reading your guys' chats. Yo. Cowboy 742. I can't even read it. It's YouTube. I mean, we're over at Rumble too, but holy lordy. So that's some good news, because like I mentioned, Republicans, Democrats, nobody wanted to look under the hood from 2020, meaning solve real issues, solve those voter fraud, which we saw a poll about a year ago now at this point, where people openly said through a observational study, through a questionnaire going, yeah, I voted on behalf of somebody else, or I voted from a property that I used to live at that I don't even live at anymore. It's a completely different state. So people are just voting illegally when they shouldn't be. And there's people that are going to vote as non-citizens, as illegal aliens, as illegal migrants, immigrants, however you want to call them, rephrase them, whatever, doesn't matter, are going to vote. So this is good that we're actually having people showing up in the thousands to sit there and make sure that we have good election integrity, which would be common sense, but for some reason that's really lacking nowadays. The other thing that's really interesting here is because Kamala Harris has no policy, she has to sit there and, well, since she can't make things up herself, like actually, critically think a little bit here, she has to just take things from Donald Trump. So in 2023, what's astonishing is Kamala Harris sent the IRS after waiters for tips. Yes, no, I'm going to rephrase that. Just a year ago, because Democrats forget all these things. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, she's for no tips. Hell yeah, woo. She sent the IRS, waiters and waitresses, on your asses last year. Now, she's trying to copy Donald Trump's no tax on tips pledge. Here she is.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
There's no thinking. It's astonishing. She's going to make things better for single people and people in general. She's going to sit there and fix the deficit. She's going to lower inflation. It's like, I swear, if you talk to a Democrat, it's really it's the wildest thing, folks, you will do. If you have an opportunity, don't get hysterical with them. Just listen to them, because they will say things to you that will make you feel like you're crazy. And what I mean by that is that you're not living in reality. It's a wild thing to view, to listen to somebody like a Harris voter or somebody who voted for Joe Biden that's now voting for Harris. It is such a trip. It's because it's as if like there is no history, there's no connection to what took place the last 4 years. I'm telling you this because I've been through it a couple times now. It is bonkers, man. And you're kind of looking at this person. Normally it's like a friend or like a loved one, right? Like a family member or something like that. And you're like kind of thinking like, what the hell's wrong with this person? Like, are they on something? You're asking if they're okay. Like, hey, like, and then you just ask them straight up questions. Do you enjoy paying like more groceries? Because I hear you bitch every day or on the phone. You know what I mean? So she's going to sit there and, again, no tax on tips, but yet utilize the IRS to crack down on tips. So if y'all recall, let's just show the receipts, folks. Don't just take my word for it. A little bit of a blip of a tape here. The Biden administration announced a new program to improve tips reporting compliance. Oh, Jesus. Oh, woo! Well, what do you mean by that? Well, it was backed by Vice President Kamala Harris, and now she's trying to promise to eliminate tip tax. Well, the IRS and the Department of Treasury introduced a new tip reporting program just last year called the Service Industry Tip Compliance Agreement. The stated goal of the program is to improve tip reporting compliance. Why? So they can tax the shit out of your tips, so it's reported as income. This is the same party that wants to sit there and actually tax unrealized gains. I'm going to say that again because it probably went over some people's heads. Jeff got it because Jeff's an accountant. This is so crazy. I don't even know. Let me compose myself. The Democrat Party, this affects all of you, by the way, that have retirement. Like you have money as a 401k, 403b, Roth, traditional, doesn't matter. The Democrat Party, Kamala Harris, is so radical with like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. They want to try and tax unrealized gains. That means you haven't sold the shit yet. Go figure that one out. Try to work out that one. How do you sit there and tax something that hasn't happened yet? How do you tax something that is variable, that is going to change? They don't know. They've been asked, like, oh, well, we'll make it work. We'll make it happen. What? So I'm going to be paying money on something that I actually haven't cashed out in. What? I'm telling you, talk to Democrats, folks. It's trippy. They don't know what the hell's going on. They're like living somewhere else. They're like freaking on UFO or something. The proposed, that's not even, you want me to go a step further? Let's go a step further. No. Now I'm on a rant. Now I'm a little pissed. Now I'm a little hyped up. They want to sit there and be able to look into your bank accounts if you have something like $600 or more. Now, that's always changing the amount, but they want to give the IRS authority to look into your bank accounts. Present time, they can't do that. You get her in office, you guys, things are going to change, man. I'll tell you what, and you're going to be losing your liberties is what it is. I've always said that's a question that every American should ask themselves before we impose a law on some sort of American citizen is how does it limit their freedoms and liberty? Simple question. If it does, then maybe we need to think twice about it. The proposed SITCA program is designed to take advantage of advancements in point-of-sale, time and attendance systems, and electronic payment settlement methods to improve tip reporting compliance. The proposed program would also decrease taxpayer and IRS administrative burdens and provide more transparency and certainty to taxpayers? Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. By making sure you report that bad boy on your 1040. Making sure that taxable income goes up, folks. But they'll just hide it deep inside there because they play on people's ignorance, because people don't know taxes that much. And granted, neither do I. I don't know it that much anymore. It's been a lot of years for me, but either way. So here's the media talking about no tax on tips here. And this is John Carl, the same guy that sat there, was reporting on and interviewing J.D. Vance the other day, interrupting the guy and kind of throwing in his bias. Here we go.
Last night, we saw a big speech in Nevada by Kamala Harris, and she came out for no tax on tips. Where have I heard that before? Last night, we saw a big speech.
I don't know, John. Maybe Donald Trump? Maybe. I mean, I understand he's being, he's leading the question if he knows where it came from. And he's kind of calling out the fact of, hey, she's just taking Donald Trump stuff, which is typical because she has nothing. She literally doesn't have anything. And we don't know really what her policies are because she didn't have it on her website. And you guys, it's been, what's today, the 13th? It's been 23 days. 23 days since she's done a single interview or press conference. So they oust a president on a letter that even Nancy Pelosi isn't even sure is Joe Biden's signature. It's not any White House letterhead. There was never really a true announcement. That Oval Office speech was questionable at best, of him like, oh, it was me that dropped out. I was at a family dinner. I was in Delaware, as I always am on vacation. And, it just popped in my head after saying for months and months that I'm not dropping out. You can't get me to, 24 hours later, I'm done. Sorry, peace. So, I don't know. Well, here's this whole thing on the 23 days now of no interview from Kamala.
Kamala Harris has yet to hold a press conference. She's been in this now 21 days. She has yet to do a single interview. Why is that? And is that going to change?
Because she doesn't know anything. She has no policy to run on. What's she going to run on her past?
21 days, Jonathan.
3 weeks.
She started running for president. Before that, she did tons of interviews. She's done interviews with you. She's done interviews. I'm sure she's going to do interviews.
Kamala Harris has yet.
Oh, well, John, it's only been 23 days. Like, what do you expect her to do interviews? I'm sure she's going to do one. Yeah, you dumb. Yes, we all expect to do interviews. She's running for president. How are people supposed to get to know her? Luckily, we got tape and video of her past, but now she's claiming, well, it's not me. I don't know where you're getting that from. I'm not radical. Bitch, you said so. We played the video. Like, come on. Give me a freaking break over here. Yo, I see you guys too. It's freaking annoying as hell, is it not? It's freaking annoying. And I'm telling you, they're going to drive this country into the ground, man. I mean, they're going to make America worse with everything that's going on around the world. And I'll tell you what, that's why you got to look into 5G, folks. We talked about them in the past. Before we move forward here, who is in control of American nukes? I'll tell you what, Joe Biden on the beaches of Delaware, he ain't in control of the nukes, folks. I don't know who is, but somebody is. Meanwhile, we have Russian ships off the coast of freaking Florida and a full-blown war in Ukraine and Israel. By the way, Iran is supposed to be attacking Israel like today, which is wild. So the world is at its most unstable point probably since World War II, except for now with nuclear weapons, the stakes are 10 times higher. You saw this during Elon Musk and Donald Trump's interview yesterday talking about nuclear warfare. How do people like you and I stay safe if something like that were to happen? Well, everybody needs to look at RadioGuard ASC, the only FDA approved. It's the only people out there approved to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds have it until now. That's why Rumble has partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of this RadioGuard ASC and the ability to prescribe it just out there. So get the radiation emergency kit and the RadioGuard ASC, potassium iodide, Zofran, and Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool in the arsenal to protect you against radioactive threat. This is freaking awesome. It's phenomenal. We talk about the solar panels, making sure you guys are set up if something was to happen. Go to 5G.com, 5gfree.com/studio and use code studio, just like we do with all the other ones, to save 10%. We have a radiation kit, and so should you. That's 5gfree.com/studio, code studio. Get that checked out, folks, because you never know what the hell's going to happen right now, because the Middle East is about to go bonkers. If Iran attacks Israel, then it just kind of turns into a domino effect. and things could spiral out of control. And that's why we need Donald Trump in office, not Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Mike Waltz. They're all psychos over there. Well, we have another question here of talking about this whole idea about Kamala, again, not taking any questions from the press, but then you have J.D. Vance doing like 3 interviews on a Sunday. It's a small clip, but it speaks volumes.
He now be ordered to avoid the press like will he now be ordered to avoid the press like Kamala Harris? Because today, for example, J.D. Vance on 3 different Sunday shows, and Governor Walz hasn't taken a single question from the press.
So this comes into the aspect of the stolen valor conversation. Is Tim Walz being told not to do any conferences or interviews because he's going to be sitting there, allegedly, I don't think it's going to happen, getting shellacked on his record in the same way Kamala Harris. Now, I think they are trying to go up to the DNC, which I think the DNC is like next week for the nomination. And once she has a nomination, well, then now she's it. And then she'll start doing press conferences. So that's why she said at the end of the month, because the DNC will take place before then. And she already has it, so it doesn't matter with the poll numbers and everything else. She already has a nomination. So it's kind of what I think that preliminary of a safety net of before she actually comes out full radical, like full Marxist, like, oh, wait, equality of outcome, which has to be done by force, like Mao's China. That's what you're going to see. So I think things are going to get wild. Now, what's crazy is she comes out and acknowledges the fact that prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. Like, again, and you're going to hear people cheering like, oh my God, yeah, things are so bad. It says Vice President of the United States on the podium, people.
Because while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. You know, when I was
well, if they know it, and you were the one that helped cause it because you wanted to sit there and pump the economy full of trillions of dollars, causing record inflation that I've never seen in my lifetime, and that now it still hasn't resolved itself, then why are these people going out of their way to vote for the person that caused the problem?
Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be a day one priority to fight to bring down prices. I will take on big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging.
But you could just do that now. Yeah, no, I mean, it's only August. No, really, Kamala, you could just do that. All the Democrats back there, you guys could do that now. Hey, you don't have to wait. You want to know why? Well, because she's actually in office right now. Yeah. She's making it seem like she's not in office, like she can't do it. My hands are tied. Joey has them tied. But yet you guys are working together. Oh, you're in every meeting. It's astonishing, dude, that these people just don't see it.
I will take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families. I will take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. And continue to bring manufacturing jobs back to America and back to communities like Eau Claire.
What? Well, why did you not do that for the last 3.5 years? I just a question. Everybody put their hands up because I think we all have the same one. Miss Harris, if you're in office now and you've been in office for the last 3.5 years, why didn't you just do it then? Oh, Kamala, woo, she's going to fix all our problems that she created. Oh, my goodness. So here's the crazy thing, you guys. The polls are, they're razor thin. Now, check this out. New polls over the weekend in 3 battleground states in Harris-Trump White House race. There's a showdown, folks. It's close. Look at this. So in these new polls, mind you, polls go back and forth. You can manipulate them relatively easily. According to polls released this weekend by Siena for the New York Times, Harris tops Trump by 4 points, you guys, in these battleground states. 50% to 46 among likely voters in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Now, here's also the other issue. Not only is she up in those states with the swing voters, but there's also lawsuits in all three of these states by the GOP because all three of these states have either changed their election laws that we saw in Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, or they're not willing to clean up their voter registration rules. Meaning, remember how all those dead people voted Democrat? Weird. Yeah, no, they actually haven't cleaned that up yet, you guys. So those same dead people that have been gone, no, they're going to vote again. Oh, that's great. Also, in these states, illegal immigrants can vote. So that's going to happen. And now it's going to happen even more than it did in 2020. So all this stuff's going to take place. So you are fighting against the legacy media. You're fighting against the entertainment industry. You're fighting against these swing voters here, and also a bunch of politicians that want to sit there and manipulate the election. So that's all going to happen again. Isn't that just lovely? Now, will it be in the totality of swinging the vote? Maybe. I don't know, because we never looked under the hood. Maybe it's a small problem. Maybe it's a drastic problem. Here's the thing. It shouldn't be a problem at all. How about that? I always love this, where these media outlets go, well, you say they stole the election. You say that, it has a massive effect. No, I'm saying it should have no effect at all, because our politicians should be doing their damn job of making sure that we have election integrity in a democracy that's an outform of a republic. And nobody wants to do it. And then you get these liberals coming on, these podcasters going, oh, well, it didn't swing the vote. I don't give a shit. It shouldn't happen anyways. It shouldn't happen anyways. I love how people go, oh, well, there's low crime. Hey, look at it. We brought the crime down. People are dying still, but we brought the crime down. I don't want any crime. I don't want anybody to do anything harmful to other people. How about that? Well, it's not as bad as you're saying it's made out to be. Just lovely. And so, speaking of just illegals voting and open borders, well, I'll let Kamala Harris speak for herself here. I try not to do any speaking for her. So here she was in Iowa.
Hi, my name is Sally Hartman. I'm a volunteer with the Center for Worker Justice. I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one.
Look, you heard it from the horse's mouth, folks. I'm not even adding my opinion into this. We're just giving you what she's saying. This is the lady that, folks, if you close the detention centers, where do all those thousands of people go? Well, I'll tell you, into your cities and states. And if you think they're going to stay in Arizona, California, and Texas, you're sorely mistaken. Alabama's starting to see an influx of illegal immigrants. And by the way, some of them are raping your wives and your children. Isn't that just lovely? And Joe Biden's allowed it to happen. Remember, if there's a Democrat in here, Kamala Harris has lost 85,000 children to sex trafficking and slavery. Now, is that my words, or did that come from a whistleblower? Oh, it came from a whistleblower that we covered about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, absolutely. What about the 250,000 plus Americans that have died under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's watch from fentanyl that's poured across our southern border? No media talking about that. No questions about it. Oh, they're going to solve it, though, you guys. Oh, we're going to fix it. Really, because this just happened as well. New York City migrants, including illegal alien convicted of sex assault, raped women at knife point in front of a boyfriend, police sources. These are the consequences of Kamala Harris's open borders. No, hey, whoa, patriots, I see you there. No. These guys here they're just wanting a better life. What do you mean? What do you mean? No, these are all great people. I was told so by my Democrat friends. No, these people are good. These people are here because of climate change. They're just here because they need to make money and then send it back to their home country so they can feed their families. Folks, some of them are doing that, okay? Some of them are good people. Everybody knows this. The Democrats just decided to swing, you freaking bigot racist. How are you going to talk about people like that? Because there are people that are raping our women and children and stealing them, kidnapping them, and sending them into freaking sex trafficking and slavery. That's why I'm saying it. You think 85,000 is a number I just pulled out of my ass and was like, oh, yeah, It's pretty hard to lose 85,000 people, folks. But don't worry. No, these guys want a better life. You can't say a single bad thing. Remember when Donald Trump called MS-13 violent gang members? You know, the guys that were not just raping children, selling them, kidnapping them, beheading them, using their teeth as necklaces, freaking using their tops of their heads as soup bowls. Yeah, those people, you can't call them animals, you guys. No, they're good people. Remember, Democrats said so. Kamala Harris doesn't want these people in detention centers. She doesn't even want them in jail. She just wants them to roam free. Well, how do we know that, guys? How do I know it? Oh, well, because it's happening and it has been happening. And we've been covering it since day one of starting the show 3.5 years ago. That's how we know. Look, I want people to be able to live the American dream. I want people to come in and assimilate to this country. The problem is it's not happening. When you have 25 million people that came here illegally and you don't know who they are, and we know there's 1,000+ terrorists, according to the CIA intelligence, here in our country present time, that are already sitting there like wanting to plan out and at some point in the future perform some sort of heinous crime, it poses a big problem here. And there's also a societal problem that when you have people that don't want to assimilate to your country and its creed and its values, then they're going to try to implement the same creed and values from their home country that they're fleeing from because it's so terrible, and they want to come here and implement those same things. And it's funny because it's always the Democrat side of the aisle that wants to do that. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that it's always the Republicans and conservative immigrants that are like, America's best, hell yeah, American. And then the reporter comes up, well, you're Black American, you're coming from somewhere, right? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, hell no, I'm American, American dream, a liberty, freedom, all these things. And then you have these Democrats that are interviewed, we freaking, those racists, those bigots, I'm oppressed, all these things. This country's terrible, it was built on racism, it was built on the backs of Black people. Do you notice that? Am I the only one that sees interview after interview of things like that taking place? Where it's like, why don't you just say that you love your country? You came here for a reason. You immigrated here for a reason. But what they're going to try to do, like Democrats do, right, to their own states, they cripple California with their policies, like Proposition 47 and others. They basically shit and sleep in their own bed and they get tired of it. So they go to your place and try to ruin it with the same policies and voting for. That's why I say #Don'tCA the USA, because that's what Kamala Harris is going to do on a federal level. After she got done destroying California, Democrats elevate them to the highest levels of office, and then they destroy the entire country. You saw from Joe Biden, look what he did with Delaware. He trashed the Senate. He trashed everything that he was doing. And then ultimately he trashed the entire United States. So it's a common theme with that party for some odd reason. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing. So speaking of things that just trash, just speaking about trash in general, and hopefully the last message came across. Like I said, if you I want to make sure I'm clear on this. If you come into this country and you don't assimilate to people's creeds and values, and you allow those people to grow, then what that's going to do, and you give them the opportunity to vote, is that's ultimately going to change your social structure. It's going to change your social milieu as a country, and then you don't have a country anymore. You might physically have the United States, right? You might still have certain things in the Constitution, but slowly that will be chiseled away because these people want to implement certain values and certain laws and regulations that they saw in their home country that they think is so great, even though they fled from it. I know it doesn't make sense. I'm right there with you, but that's what they're doing. So jean-pierre can't name a specific policy achievement for Kamala Harris. It's a comprehensive whole, she says. So she can't name a specific policy. 3.5 years, can't name a single one, but don't worry, they worked in unison. They're all great together. And they align, you guys. And they've been aligned for 3.5 years. Well, she said so. But can't name a single policy, but they're aligned. Huh.
But again, they've been aligned. They've been aligned for the last 3.5 years. There's not been any daylight. But again,
yo, when Elon Musk, a moderate Democrat, comes out and says, yo, we can't spend another 3.5 years of having Democrats in office, that says everything you need to know right there. Johnny says, spoke to a local Democrat meeting about homeless in our community, and they agreed with everything I said until they found out that I was conservative. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's why you just got to tell them, just wear a Bernie shirt. You know what I mean? And so she says that there's no daylight between them two, you guys. It's just, it's all there. So let's get a little bit more of an expansive viewpoint from Karine on this one.
How long have you guys known that Vice President Harris does not think President Biden is doing a good job at the border?
wait, say that one more time?
Well, she's now promising to hire thousands more border agents than there are now under President Biden.
Wait, but start your question again.
How long have you guys known that?
She needs time to look through her binder. She heard it, you guys. She just didn't have anything in her brain to actually respond to. You saw her, right? She sat there. She pretended like she didn't understand the question. The question was formulated for a 5th grader. She couldn't figure it out. So she couldn't figure it out. She had to look in her binder, and that's why she kept, well, I'm not getting it. Can you rephrase it? Give me some time to look through the binder.
That Vice President Harris does not think that President Biden is effective with his border policy.
You're making a huge jump. Why? She did not say this. This is something that you are assuming. I don't understand why you would assume that. It's not true.
She has a campaign ad where she is saying they need more Border Patrol agents. If President Biden's doing such a good job, why do they need any more border agents?
We both believe that. The president does want more Border Patrol agents. You know who's getting in the way? You know who's getting in the way? Republicans in Congress. They're getting in the way. You know who?
It's so stupid. You know who's getting in the way? Republicans. Lady, again, I know I repeat myself. You had all 3 branches of government when you came into office. You could have done anything you wanted. But it's Republicans' fault. Everything you're seeing is Republicans' fault.
Who else is getting in the way? The former president. Donald Trump, he's getting in the way. I mean, there's no daylight here. I'm not understanding the question because there's no daylight. The president believes that as well, and he's worked towards doing that. There's a bipartisan, I know you guys probably get sick of me saying this, but there was a bipartisan agreement that was on the table that the president worked through for a couple of months with Republicans in the Senate and Democrats. They were told not to move forward because it would help Joe Biden by the former president.
Unbelievable. Democrats just lopped this up. Oh yeah. You know, but remember, there's no, they're unison. They're working together on everything, you guys. And there's a great question here about, well, if they're working together on everything, then what about the lives of 13 U.S. service members that were blown to bits in Afghanistan? So she was a part of the whole Afghanistan pullout then, Karine? So not only did she destroy our southern border along with Joe Biden, allow illegal immigrants to flow in here in the millions, but then she's also responsible for foreign policy, like the Afghanistan. You remember people falling from the sky? How many times have you seen that in your lifetime? Bodies raining down from the sky.
Said that she was the last person in the room with President Biden ahead of his decision to order U.S. troops to pull out of Afghanistan. Was the Vice President in full support of his decision to order that withdrawal and in full support of the way that it was implemented?
I mean, she answered that question herself. I don't have anything else to add. It sounds like she answered the question herself, right?
She said that she was in the room previously.
But didn't you also said she was in support?
Yeah.
Flipping through the binder again, man. It's just unbelievable.
I'm asking you if the president believes that the vice president was in full support of his decision.
I believe, and as you have seen them in the past 3.5 years, they've been partners, critical partners. It doesn't matter if it's domestic issues, also foreign policy issues, and that has been the case from day one and continue.
So she was a part of it. So there you go. You can link all this together now when you're talking to your Democrat friends. That it's all together. All right. Democrats, they don't understand that, she sat there and helped cause all this, and she's gonna fix it though. Now, it's funny because Karine Jean-Pierre has nothing to say when asked about Biden sees as Kamala Harris' biggest achievement. So no answer here. 3.5 years, what's her biggest achievement? You shouldn't have to look through a binder. This should just be at top of mind. Like she likes to use that phrase, right? When Joe Biden was looking for dead people in the crowd. Yeah. Oh, she was top of mind. This should be top of mind, Karine. What's her biggest achievement? Let's see what she has to say.
What does the president see as the vice president's biggest achievement during their time in office together?
So look, because they've been partners, those achievements have been done, certainly those historic, unprecedented achievements have been done together. I'll say this, the president believes in the vice president leadership, her temperament, her experience, and he has said this himself. One of the proudest decisions that he made in 2020 was selecting her as vice president because he believed that she can go on day one.
Hey. Do you think Joe is kicking himself right now for putting her in office after the workings that she did with allegedly Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi to oust his ass? Dude got stabbed in the back like Julius Caesar by his own party. The dude spent 50 plus years. 50 years of his life and got stabbed in the back by his own party. Oh, you couldn't write it. Oh, just right off in the sunset, Joe, with old Yeller. Dude was freaking gave up his life, his entire life to sit there and work for the Democrat Party, and he's shank, 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 shank in his back, and he's just trying to crawl. I need to be there. I need to do this. Shank, shank, shank.
And you've seen them do that together on day one of this administration. That doesn't change. I'm not going to parse out anything from here. They have been partners. She's been a critical partner for this president for during this term, and will continue to do so. You will see them together on Thursday in Maryland, where they would talk about their next announcement on lowering costs for the American people.
How long have they been talking about lowering the costs for American people, dude? It's like every month. They haven't done anything. We're in a transition phase. God. Hey, simple question, you guys. Like, what's your, it's like a job interview question, right? Like, hey, you've been doing this job for 20 years, 50 years. Like, hey, what's your biggest achievement? Doesn't even know. Doesn't have a damn clue. Well, can we expect Kamala Harris to speak to the American people in the briefing room? Like, that'd be great.
As a member of the administration, can we expect the vice president to come out here and speak to the American people in the briefing room at some point?
The president and the vice president speaks to the American people regularly, and that's where I'll leave that.
No, they don't. Like, that's why we've been talking about the fact that she hasn't done an interview in 23 days. So she's going to sit there and they speak regularly. No, they don't. Joe is on the beaches of Delaware. He's not speaking to anybody. I mean, he's had more conversations with probably dead people than he has actual American people, citizens. So here's the no tax on tip again.
On the taxes on tips. So why then have the president and vice president not talked about this over the past 3.5 years?
So again, the president supports eliminating taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. And at the same time, what this president and this vice president has been able to do is help raising minimum wage. There are things that the president and this vice president has done over the 3.5 years that has helped hardworking people.
I'm going to try.
Wow. Do y'all believe that? Helping hardworking people, like everything's up is more expensive. I tell you what, man, sometimes you just need to support things that actually carry your values. And that's like 1775 coffee, folks. We always do a plug here. I know it was a hard transition, but it's time to say goodbye to that $5, almost $6 now. Starbucks, it's bad. And say hello to Rumble 1775 coffee. You guys have been buying this up from what I'm hearing. Unlike other brands, this is a coffee that backs free speech and is unapologetic about it. Remember the DDoS attack that took place on Elon Musk and Donald Trump yesterday that shut everything down? Yeah, there's probably a lot of foreign adversaries in the Democrat Party pulling that stunt. Well, visit 1775coffee.com, use promo code STUDIO, just like with all the other ones, and you get that 15% off. This coffee comes in medium and dark roast. This beard grows because of dark roast, folks. Women, if you don't want a beard like this, hit that medium roast. It's like a Kona coffee. They have that thing called like peaberry. Really good. It's premium. It's good stuff. How do you think we wake up every morning, folks? So click on the link in the live chat or the description. You can also just go directly to 1775coffee.com and use promo code STUDIO, all caps, and get that 15% off today, folks. It's good stuff. It's premium. That's what keeps the lights on here for us, as well as your donations, which is always greatly appreciated. You guys following and subscribing, all that stuff is greatly appreciated. So Kamala Harris is going to sit there and lie through her teeth. People keep asking her tax on tips, but I got to get to this one right here, where she says we've been doing everything we can to work for hardworking Americans to lower the cost. So here she is again.
We have been doing the work, right, for hardworking Americans to lower cost. And we have been doing the work, right, for hardworking Americans to...
I had to play it twice. Johnny says plug the mug. All right, we can plug the mug, man, if that's what you want. Oh, look at that mug right there. Go to baldbradstore.com and plug the mug. This is the only mug I have, man. I'll tell you what, this thing's been through the ringer, and it looks phenomenal. I've actually dropped it from waist height, and I thought it shattered. No, the thing's still crisp, man. I'm not saying that's something you should do, because Shib's wife actually broke his original mug, and so he had to buy another one. Like, I'm not against it, right? It's more support, but don't be breaking the mugs, folks. And, you know, Karine Jean-Pierre is just completely useless, you guys. And I know you know that.
This is one of the first specific policy endorsements that we've heard from the vice president. Is there anything you can explain about kind of how she came to this endorsement and how she'll address the criticism?
That was said in a campaign context, so I would have to refer you to the campaign. I'm sure they can speak more to that. It is not unusual, right, when a campaign moves forward, that they have they put forth their policy agenda for the American people to.
But she hasn't done that. Hey, like, you know, what did she do to like earn this nomination? Well, you know, the campaign talked about that. You know, well, I can't really speak on it. But, you know, it's a normal thing for people just to randomly drop out, even though they spent months, if not years, saying they're going to run again and that they're going to be on the campaign trail and they're the nominee and they got 14 million votes like Joe Biden. And then they just drop out. That's all normal, you guys. And, you know, they sit there and let you know their policy as they're coming in. She has no policy. It's not even on her website. She hasn't even done an interview. Nobody knows anything. So some of you are asking about spooky adventures. I do need to do a video. You're right. I need to get on that. Yeah, Michelle, you're right. There's some videos up there on spooky adventures. You can sit there. There's a lot of videos, even older ones. But yeah, I got to do another one. We'll get it done. We'll get it done this weekend for you. I have a lot of fun doing that. So thanks for the reminder. You guys push me to create more content. I greatly appreciate it. Well, folks, that is today's show. Always appreciate hanging out with you Patriots in the live chat. We got a lot of people joining us today. If you're new here, hit that follow. We got a lot of regulars that come in here, a lot of Patriots. You'll recognize their names. They would love to engage with you in the chat. And I would love to engage with you in the chat as well and read what you have to say. You guys are going bonkers today, man, and just cracking me up. If you want to say some more stuff, head over to Rumble, because Rumble will take care of you. YouTube, I get a little nervous. But with that being said, folks, thank you always for your support. We'll be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of The Bald Brad Show. Appreciate your support, Patriots. Have a kind and lovely day. Pray for our president. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for this country, folks. And I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.